What's up, guys? This is Brian J's Nerd Talk, and this is my short review of Rebel Moon, directed by Zack Snyder. And it was a really good movie. I liked it. It was pretty good. I think it has some of the best dialogue, and that felt philosophical, and also the conversations almost felt like conversations that people would have in a science fiction or a science fantasy setting. I like the characters. I like the story, the plot. Even though it was very derivative and was ripping off of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai and George Lucas Star Wars, and George Lucas was influenced and inspired by John Ford movies and Akira Kurosawa movies, as well as Flash Gordon series from that premiered in the 1940s or 50s. I think it premiered around that time. So, but Rebel Moon, yeah, I like the characters. It was good. The fight scenes were great. The action scenes, the visuals, all that was so gorgeous. So my overall rating for Rebel Moon Part 1 would be an 8.5 out of 10. One of my criticisms, well, I have like two major criticisms. One, as I do love the inspiration and the paying of homage that this film does, but it also feels like it's doing nothing like new story wise. Like it's story points by story points, it completely like rips off Star Wars and Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, where these band of rebels are gathering together to fight for this farm on this moon that is being harassed by this evil empire, and they have to protect this farm from this evil empire. And and yeah, it's the same story that's been done. The main character, played by Sofia Boutella, is like this mysterious loner who's like a soldier and a warrior that used to fight for the empire, but now has to fight for these people, and she's actually a good person. And yeah, it's completely derivative, and it's been done a million times. There's no originality whatsoever. And also there's too much exposition dialogue. There's way too much exposition. The constant explaining of things that have been explained in a 2 hour and 14-minute film over and over and over again, it feels very cheap, because cinema is about show, not tell. And trying to do world building through a constant usage of exposition dialogue just feels very cheap. I mean, I felt that I was watching a Christopher Nolan movie at times instead of a Zack Snyder movie, but it was like even more exposition dialogue. Like, you have just characters explaining so much and everything. But yeah, other than that, it was a really good movie. I see why the critics hate the film. I agree with a lot of critics' opinions. I agree with their criticism. I just don't feel that those issues were enough to completely damage the experience of watching the film, and enjoying the movie. I don't think that really hurt the film at all. But yeah, the writing and the script is the weakest part of the film, but everything else is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful visuals and filmmaking, shot composition, all that. I don't think this is Zack Snyder's worst movie. I still think his worst movie is Sucker Punch, by far. That movie is just terrible. Man of Steel would be his second worst, maybe. But I think Rebel Moon is probably his second best movie. I would say his best film would be his Justice League movie, and then Rebel Moon, and then 300, and then Dawn of the Dead remake from 2004, his first feature film. But yeah, I think Rebel Moon Part 1 is really good. I'm looking forward to Part 2. This film was just a really good setup for what's going to happen in Part 2, which is basically just, I guess, going to be like a giant third act of a lot of action and explosions. I don't know. But yeah, these are my thoughts. This is my review of Rebel Moon by Zack Snyder. And this is Brian J's Nerd Talk. I'll talk to y'all later.